Very much related to one-to-one functions is an idea of the inverse function. The idea of the inverse function is if we know that f of x is equal to y, then the inverse, which we denote by this f to the negative 1, which is f inverse of y is equal to x. So this is a way to essentially reverse our function. It's a way to undo the function. In general, if a function is one-to-one, if it passes that horizontal line test, then we're guaranteed to have an inverse. So the question is, how exactly do we find the inverse of the function? Step 1, change f of x to y. We have f of x equal to something, and instead of writing f of x, we should write y. I now have an equation that involves both x's and y's, and now I'm going to switch the x's and y's. So everywhere there's an x, I write a y. Everywhere there's a y, I write an x. The next step is I just solve this equation for the value of y. In my final step, I change the y back to f inverse, since I now have the inverse. So let's do a few examples. Let's consider the equation f of x equal to 2x minus 3. So step 1 says to write y equal to 2x minus 3. Change the f of x to a y. Step 2, switch the x's and y's, so now I have x equal to 2y minus 3. Next, I need to solve for y. So I'll add 3 to both sides and get x plus 3 equal to 2y. Divide both sides by 2, and now I have x plus 3 over 2 equal to y. And then my final step is to change the y to the symbol for f inverse. So I now have a form for the inverse function. For another one, f of x equal to 1/2 x cubed plus 4. Once again, I start by changing the f of x to a y. I switch my x's and y's, so now I have x equal to 1/2 y cubed plus 4. And now I solve for y. So I'll subtract 4 from both sides and get x minus 4 equal to 1/2 y cubed. I'll multiply everything by 2. That gives me 2x minus 8 equal to y cubed. And then finally, I'll take the cube root of both sides. So now I have 2x minus 8. And the cube root of that is equal to y. So f inverse of x is equal to the cube root of 2x minus 8.